In my link tree, there is a link that actually takes you to all the states that have the rebuttable presumptions, but they're going to be different in each state. Like family court, California, we found out has like the strongest rebuttable presumption.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's just also going off of what another lawyer had said. But if you go down, I think it's towards the end. Yeah, it says rebuttable, and then I put it's a tab, and it says in my link tree, rebuttable. Remember, every state is different. Okay, so that means every state law is different.
Yeah.
So I have on here, I have Alabama, Alaska, like all the different states, going all the way down.
Yeah.
So it's a one big PDF, like if you want to see if you can use the rebuttable presumption in your court case, it's just it's going to be a really hard thing for us to explain to everybody, and Johnny and I are going to try to see if we could break it down for people so that they can understand it more in like layman's term what a rebuttable presumption is. I will move it up on my link tree so you guys, if I talk about something in my lives or I talk about something like with other people, I will move it up to the top of my link tree so that you guys can have it. Just give me a little bit of time. So, and then it will have the family code next to it. So all the states are here. If you guys need to brainstorm with us, I'm available, Amanda's available. I know Iowa Mama's available and Johnny's available, and we have
available after next Friday. Tonight is my last night.
I mean, it's preferably you text me through, TikTok, and I'll text you back. I try not to give my number out too much,
I'll be a little bit busy, like starting Monday, I'll be in Washington, D.C. again, but doing this work.
Guys, come on. I work all the time.
I'm going to be a
mom life.
Girl. Don't bother me. No, I'm kidding. I'll be looking at messages and stuff. If it's something, I'm sure that I can answer questions.
And then you guys can always just shoot me like, hey, Veronica, they don't know what it is. What is it? And so we'll get to it to like break it down a little bit more. It's just I have to also make sure that I understand everything. And then Johnny is trying to make sure he understands it at the federal and the Supreme level, So if we kind of like, that's why I said our groups are really, really good. If we kind of like, brainstorm off each other, and I don't own Amanda and I don't own Iowa Mom and I don't own Johnny. We just, brainstorm together. I think we can go somewhere and we could get somewhere with this. And just, I always go back to this and I always say, like Amanda, when we were talking about all this stuff and we're brainstorming, and we're talking about, the bill process, and we're just talking, Amanda is like, man, I wanted to go down and get all my court files and just bust them all out everywhere, because that's what you want to do, is you want to do that stuff. You want to be able to dig your stuff out,
Because when you put it away for a few years, like my stuff's been sitting away for since 2020. I put it all away. I didn't want to look at it anymore. I didn't want to see it. I was done with it. I was like, I've got what I wanted. I'm done. I put it all away in a deep, dark hole. I didn't want to see it ever again.
Well, because it's traumatizing. It's traumatizing.
Even, you and I have had the conversation. I put it away and didn't look back. I got what I wanted, and everything's been great. And co-parenting's been a great thing for my daughter and us, and blended families, and it's been good. As high conflict as my case was, you wouldn't even know that our case was high conflict. It's that good. And so digging it back out and having to rehash and kind of read and go, oh my gosh, I forgot about this, or oh my gosh, and even like I was in my Facebook memories. I have a hard time with my memories because I've lost a lot of friends, so I tend to not look at them, but I've started to look at them, which I think is part of the healing process too. And seeing some of the stuff I've posted in the past, and when I was going through my case and reading some of the stuff and seeing some of the lives that I was posting and things that I was doing, and just going, oh my gosh, what was I thinking? But at the same time, that giving me anxiety, going back to that moment. But it's been a healing process at the same time, because now I'm able to go, oh, I remember that hearing, and I know what date that was, and that was not right. And so I'm starting to put together a different type of timeline.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? After the information that I've gotten from other people, and then, oh, we can do this. Oh, we should do that. So it's been interesting. It's not just a healing process. It's a informational, educational, because I see things so differently now than I did then.
Yeah.
Eyes wide open, I guess. They're wider open, and you go into it with a different emotion and a different mindset.
Well, I mean, you're stuck in that fight and flight mode, you know what I mean? So you may not see things. And like I tell people, like sometimes it is good that the courts work at a snail pace, because it gives you time to kind of like step back a little bit. Okay, like use that time to take advantage of like your healing and say, look, like what can I do? Like you have like 2 or 3 months, where you can actually, put some stuff together. Like recently we had a lot of personal stuff that happened in, our relationship with our child, and like,
Right.
health reasons and all the other stuff. you know, so I had to go in there and I had to petition the court to try to move this court case, you know, a little bit further.
Right.
And they wanted to move it sooner. And I said, okay, let's give them at least 2 months, you know. And, you know, the judge was really understanding for me to show that compassion to them. You know, like I even felt like I was showing more compassion than the actual lawyer was for his own client, you know.
Right.
And I was like, okay, something's not right here, you know. And the judge was very nice to me. I really do like this energy that this new judge is giving me and the importance. And he actually turned to the lawyer and goes, look, the parents are getting along and they're mediating and they're talking. You know, if they have this major health issue that is affecting them and they're trying to work through it, why are you going to stop that, you know? And of course, the lawyer got mad at me, Iowa mom. The lawyer got mad at me and told me off outside. But I was just like, you know, because I try to be nice with him. I try to be cordial with him. I tried to talk to him, you know, and he just shut me down. He's like, oh, well, you already filed a modification to modify custody and you already submitted all the evidence, you know, or the papers. And he's like, we can't do anything. And he just shut me down like right then and there. Didn't even try to like work anything out with me, you know? And I was just astonished. I was like astonished by like how he was acting, you know, like that was not right at all, you know. And I put it on record. Like I told you guys, put it on record. I tried to, you know, talk, or I tried to, you know, mediate with the other lawyer or speak to the other lawyer shut me down. So it's actually in the minute order now. It's actually in the minute order that I did
That's
that.
great though.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can get a judge that is open to seeing both sides and thinking outside of the box, I think that's amazing. Unfortunately, there's a lot of judges out there that are biased, and judges are supposed to not be biased.
Yeah. And don't ever try to hide anything from the courts either. Like how many times have we heard, Amanda, people trying to hide stuff from the court? Don't try to hide stuff from the courts, you know?
I'll find it.
Yeah. Like, for example, I don't know if I told you, Iowa mom, but in my case, the lawyers forgot to submit an agreement that we made. So there's no record of it anywhere. The lawyers, and I had to put it into my declaration just to make sure that the record is there. I said, we did try to submit, you know, an agreement. There was an error with the lawyers. They never submitted it. And it was supposed to be submitted back in like July or something like that. And they never submitted it, which is beneficial for me, you know, that they didn't submit it, because now we're going back to the previous order. You know, I don't want to get too personal like with my case, because make sure that he's protected, I'm protected. And I had to make sure I included that in there, that there was a lawyer, a clerical or error, I guess you would consider it. You know, I guess the lawyers were talking during that time. They decided to take the summer off. Right? Run with our money and take the summer off. Here you go.
Yeah.
It was so funny. I heard this live, I think the other day I was listening to, or this podcast or something. He goes, this is something funny. He goes, that either you can mediate and be adults about this and learn to get along and put your child through college and have that money for your kids, or you can pay me and I'll use that money towards my benefit and to put my kids through college.
That's a good point. I mean, that's the truth.
And I was like, dang. I was like, that's true. I mean,
it's the truth. You're just lining the pockets of other people. You're taking the money that you could have to put into your own life and your kids to throw it away for what? Yep. And that's something me and my ex figured out, I think, after spending so much money each. I think it just got to that boiling point of, what are we really providing for her?
Yeah.
And now we can both provide such a great life for her. I mean, that's, you know, going back to that a little bit, somebody had mentioned something about 50-50 custody creates a horrible child, or creates this confusion, and, you know, that's why they get bad grades. Well, if you can't come to the understanding that at least be civil for the kid, because you're not fighting, you might be thinking in your head that you're fighting for the kid, but you're not stopping and thinking, what does that child want?
Yeah.
What does the kid want? And I think you and I had this conversation, you know, after watching a couple of these episodes that you've been sending me with, you know, the other couple.
Yeah.
You know, the kids want to live with one parent, you know. If they don't want to live with you and they're happy where they're at, even if you think the circumstances are bad, how do you think the emotions and the attitude's going to be if they're with you and they don't want to be with you?
Yeah.
It's not going to be a fun life. So sometimes you have to pick and choose that battle.
Yeah.
And you have to just kind of bite your tongue sometimes and go, okay, if I want all this nonsense and all this chaos, I have to learn to be civil, and I have to just say, okay, we're going to work together, compromise.
Yeah.
You know?
And just a comment that was put in the thing, just a correction. We're not saying all lawyers are good. Okay. So don't put words in our mouth. That's not what we're saying. We're just saying that there is good lawyers out there, you know, Amanda.
Lawyers.
Yeah. And they do take money from you. Hi, how are you?
Hi. Good. How are
You know,
you?
Iowa Mom.
No, I guess I've been in this room once before.